We love FPS in this house.
Welcome everyone, I am Sir Grizzles, and today I'm going to show you guys my settings, which I believe are really good for performance in this game. I'm not going to lie, this game is really well optimized, so honestly you could run any settings and you'll do just fine. But when it comes to, let's say, Marvel Rivals and whatnot, with those games that are really high end, it's hard to get into those good frames, so this game is doing really good on that department. So I'm going to show you guys my settings to show you guys like what frames I get, and yeah. Let's do it. We're gonna go mainly to the video settings, but one thing I really want to, tell you guys to turn off is automatic climbing and automatic sprinting. This is a tac shooter, not Call of Duty. So if you guys hate the fact that when you start running you can't stop, turn this off. You could also do the FOV sprint scaling one, camera shake during sprint. These just kind of, they just ruin your stuff. So yeah, these are all personal preference. This is all map stuff. Performance metrics, all this stuff is all personal preference. Crosshair, I just use the dot. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not picky. The one thing I will suggest for keyboard and mouse players, bind your walk to something else, because walk, I think on default, is left alt, and you need this. Like, it's really good. Unless you like to just scope in a lot, I like to just use the walk so I could see a lot more than I just quick scope onto someone. So that's my opinion, but I suggest you bind it to something that's easy to reach, not left alt, because you'd have to use your thumb and it's kind of uncomfortable. Now let's get on with the video. So this is where everyone wants to be. So of course, grab your main monitor. Me, it's my LG Ultra Gear monitor. It's a really good monitor, actually. If anybody wants it, let me know in the comments. I'll send you guys the specs. It's pretty good. Full screen display mode, of course. Unless you're a streamer, you can go borderless window or borderless. It's kind of borderless windowed, but it's easier to tab out. But I use full screen. Even when I tab out, it doesn't really like shake too much. So if you want the best performance, full screen is the best. For aspect display ratio, it really depends. It depends really on your monitor, I should say. But I would mainly suggest 16:9. Best for basically best of everything. Yeah, there's nothing much else I really need to say. If you want a little bit more of a stretch res kind of thing, 16:10 can be really good. I haven't tried it yet, so you guys can play around with it, see what you guys think. But I go by 16:9, and I'll stick with that for the time being. It also gives you a clearer image since it's a smaller screen. Display resolution, always go with your native. Always. If you feel like you're going really low on your frames, you can go down to 1280 by 720. It hits the image a good bit, I should say, so just be aware. But I suggest just go with your native resolution. That's just the best. FOV, personal preference, I max it out. I need to see as much as possible, and it was at like 100 on default, and I can't see much. So 125 if you want to take this game seriously. 125. Now filter. I won't lie, the highlight really pops out the colors, and I like it a lot. So if you guys like just popping out colors, I go with highlight. Play around with the filter, see which one you like. But honestly, just the regular highlight for me is just really nice. So post-processing intensity, you can put this on none. But I like it a little bit just because for post-processing purposes, it's not too bad for, let's say, when you're when you're just walking around and stuff. So putting it on low is not bad, but if you feel like you need more frames, go none. It's not too bad. Menu rate, frame rate, and gameplay frame rate unlimited. These are kind of no-brainers. Unless you are, if you want to cap it at your monitor's resolution, you can always play with this a little bit. But I always go unlimited. Just go on unlimited. It's not that bad. If I would cap it, I would cap it at 180 because that's my refresh rate, but unlimited is not bad. So for out of focus, I put it at 60 right now, not unlimited, because when you tab out of a game, it can cause a little bit of just delay and stuff because you're taking up more resources. So I suggest keeping it at 60. So when you tab out, you do your things, you come back, you're good to go. Brightness, all of this right now, all these four right here, or these two I should say, these are all personal preference, goes off your monitor, everything like that. I just keep it at default, 1.5. But like I said, just play around with these settings, which one you think looks the best. Vertical sync off, you don't want this, no. So vertical sync, no, turn this off. Puts input delay, and nobody likes input delay. Anti-tearing, you could play around with this. It depends. In some cases, I've heard that it helps FPS. Some people, it doesn't. If you're on DirectX 12, you should try it on. I tried it. I didn't get that big of a boost, so I turned it off. Now for minimalist graphics, it can be really good. So I would put honestly everything to simplified, because there's not many things that would, let's say, because I want a good image. So if I put everything on minimalist, you're just gonna hurt your numbers and whatnot. I just like it on simplified. You guys can play around with this. The effects though, this I would put on minimalist. These are the particles that I want to take away so you could see a bit better and it's less of a distraction. Dead effects, this is your personal preference. If you like them, keep them on. If you don't and you want to have it more of a, let's say, competitive gamer experience, you don't really care, turn it off. It's just about how you think stuff looks. That's basically it. I like to turn them on when I get cool skins. I like them. Damage numbers always on. If you're weird and you turn them off, you won't be able to tell your team how much damage you dealt to someone, even though it says it in chat. No. These two UI info, you can turn them off. They just kind of give you extra stuff if you turn it off. So, all right, now we're on to the actual good stuff. So the graphic quality. Let's do it. NVIDIA DLS for upscaling. I put NVIDIA DLSS 4. This is just by far the one I get the most frames. I'm an NVIDIA user, so I don't use AMD. So I know there's like a bunch of options for AMD. I believe FSR 3 is the good one. So if you have an AMD graphics card, you should try that one. If you don't get that many frames, go to 2. For DLSS 4 though, you go for I go with quality and then prioritize speed. Those are my two that I do good. So I get good frames and I also get a good picture quality. If I put it down to, let's say, ultra performance, it's gonna look a little bit worse. So I just put on quality and prioritize speed. It does the job for me. Frame generation, no, never ever do this. This is the one reason I don't like it. Frame generation gets you a lot of frames, but in some cases can get you input lag. If you guys play Marvel Rivals, you guys know how this works. So turning this off is much better. I'm sure there's ways for you to tweak around in this to make it a little bit better, but in my opinion, I don't like it. It doesn't help me at all. I had one game where I swiped my mouse to the right and then it did wee like 5 seconds later. Turning this off is for your best bet. You can try it on, like I say, for all these settings, but I suggest keeping it off. Low latency mode. If you have an NVIDIA graphics card, NVIDIA on. This helps you with your frames, putting input latency, gameplay latency, all that stuff. So it's pretty good. DLSS 4 reflex. I have it on. This basically just makes it so that you just have better latency again. It'll automatically turn this on when you have that on, so that's good. Now for all these qualities, I'm gonna go down the line. So mesh quality, low. Shadow quality, low. Post-processing, low. Texture quality, high. This doesn't tank up too much of your FPS, and it makes all the models look way better. So when you're shooting someone, it's going to look a lot better. Effect quality, low. Again, we turned it off in the simplified version, so now we're putting it even lower. Screen space reflection, I put it on low. It just, whenever you look at like a wall, it'll show a reflection of yourself. There's no point. Just turn it off. Weapon depth field off. Just adds a blur whenever you're scoping into your gun. Doesn't work. Same thing with dynamic blur. When you're moving around, there's going to be that weird thing. No. When you're turning, you'll see like the speed of it. It's kind of weird. Scene dynamic blur simulates blurring of moving objects. I liked it on, but I might turn it off because it could cause a little bit of a distraction. But it really depends how you. Ray tracing. If you want to tank your frames, turn it on. If you want good frames, turn it off. Ray tracing is not good. SSGI off. It goes again with screen space, so it's a whole thing. UI resolution on high. This is for whenever you're in the game, checking your abilities, checking all that stuff. That's really important, so keep that on high, and it doesn't take too much of your FPS, which is good. And animation physical, I put it on. When enabled, the physical effects of the detailed parts of the character model are displayed, such as ribbons and charms. Really depends. I keep them on because let's say I want to look at someone and they have like a really big thing above their head. It might be easier for me to know where they are, so I keep it on. Now I'm gonna benchmark this as I keep talking, but I usually get in my games around 250 FPS, so I'm doing okay. I have a 3050 or 3060 Ti graphics card setup, so it's not too bad. You guys can see that simplified really takes away a lot of the wear and tear, so it looks a lot simpler, but you can see very clear image. Everything is easy to see. And it still looks really good, even with smokes, even with all that stuff. You're going to see when we get later on in the benchmark, there's going to be a section where they show some abilities, so you'll be able to frame yourself on that. Also, for this benchmark, don't take yourself on this. It shows that I have 400 frames, but in most game scenarios, I'm in the 250 mark, so just keep that in mind, but it doesn't tank too hard. See, even with these abilities, Circuit's abilities, you can see they still look really good. No shadows, no nothing, so it's easier for you to see the enemies. It's pretty good. So of course, tweak around with these settings, guys, to make sure that everything is all fine and dandy. So yeah, that's basically all I have for this video. Very short video on basically all the settings. I try to do it as fast as possible to avoid, you know, just like eating you guys alive. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know down in the comments if these work. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.